Well, that's a better view from the door than we had at 5:30 this morning, when it was really thick mist and we couldn't see across the valley, and we couldn't see the van over there, which is our friends Tracy and Lee. In fact, we could only just see about that far in front of us at one point when we woke up. This is one of our favourite park ups. Always nice and quiet. And we've spoken to the farmer when he's passed us before, and he's always friendly and chatty. And doesn't have a problem with us being here. Keith's just taking Nab and Bay for a walk while I had a wash, and then it'll be time to get some breakfast. Bacon butty today, I think. Continuing with the botany theme, look at this nice little monkey puzzle tree in a very scenic little nook. We're in Hawkshead now. Just having a wander around. Always love this place. Full of little nooks and crannies and alleyways. Stairways. Been to Hawkshead many times, never actually been up this lane. There's a building here, because for those of you who don't know, this is where William Wordsworth lived, went to school, and in the old grammar school there is a desk that supposedly, whether it's actually true or not, has got his name carved into it.
So he's a vandal as well, was he?
Yeah, well, yeah. Hope you got the cane for it. But this is an ancient monument. Anne Tyson's cottage, Wordsworth Lodge. The poet William Wordsworth lived here whilst a scholar at the grammar school in 1779 to 1787. The chapel where the poet occasionally worshipped was up the steps on the left of the cottage.
Up there somewhere.
And Anne Tyson's still going because she's now got self-catering holiday cottages. It's a bank holiday weekend, it's Sunday, and I never seen Hawkshead this quiet.
No.
We had no problems parking, did we?
No, and Hawkshead always used to be a place to miss bank holidays.
Yeah. I say, all these little alleyways. Beautiful little place. You in your happy place, Bay? You're watching, just lying there watching the views, listening to the bird song, weren't you, Bay? They do like it here because there's no sheep around, so they can be free to go and play, can't you? Just go and play. Ready. Ready. But you'd like your dinner in a bit, wouldn't you, Bay? Ooh. How do we decide where we're going to park up?
I don't know really. You usually done quite a bit of research and then find an area. Looked at various apps, Park the Night.
Yeah. Google Maps.
Google Maps, yeah.
Recommendations.
And just finding spots really. If we're passing somewhere, because we're quite choosy, aren't we? Because we need somewhere for the dogs.
Yeah.
We can't do sort of roadsides.
No.
So we have some favourites dotted around.
Such as this. With views like that.
Mm-hmm.
Which is tucked away. And like you say, where the dogs can have a bit of freedom. Otherwise, if they can't because of... Pardon you. Because of animals and stuff, then we can tie them up to the van, can't we? So they've still got a bit of freedom. They've got long leads.
But it's roads that's more the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why we don't tend not to stay in lay-bys, isn't it?
Yeah.
If it was just us, we'd probably stay in more lay-bys, wouldn't we? Who decides on destinations? Why are you laughing?
Well, you suggest an area, and then you've usually done some research of more research. What's interesting in that area, and then we go and hit it, don't we?
Yeah, because now we've tended to go more trying to share bits of history. There tends to be more research, isn't it, rather than just saying, let's go to the Lake District, let's go to the Yorkshire Dales, let's go here, let's go there. So, yeah, it's quite a bit of research now. So it's me, basically, isn't it? Because I've got more time than you.
Yeah.
Why a camper van and not a caravan?
Well, we certainly wouldn't get into anywhere like this with a caravan.
No.
We'd be on... You'd have to go to campsites.
Mm-hmm. Which is more tying.
I mean, there's a nice campsite not so far away from here that we've used in a tent and in camper vans, but you certainly wouldn't be able to just rock up anywhere and sort of overnight, would you?
No, you couldn't pull up into an area where you think, yeah, we could park up there, not if we had a caravan. No. And plus, I mean...
Towing,
yeah, it's a hassle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, we see it as a hassle. We have towed trailers in the past, don't we? And when we've had tents and stuff.
My mum and dad used to have a caravan, but I never really got into caravans.
What made us first decide we wanted a camper van? Well, that was partly I'd always wanted to. I'd always fancied it. And then when my dad died and left us a bit of money, I mean, he said when he was ill, didn't he? When I've gone and I've left you some money, buy a camper van with it, because you've always wanted to do it. So that's what we did, isn't it?
It is.
The old
little
Talbot.
Yeah.
Talbot Rambler, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And that did us for a while, for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So that's why we chose a camper van in the first place. You came along long after that. Why did we choose a Renault van to convert?
Well, it was... I don't know whether we chose a Renault. It was just one that popped up, wasn't it? But,
yeah. I think it's a bit like having a dog, isn't it? The dogs choose you. It popped up at the right time. We'd already by then realised that the Land Rover wasn't the right vehicle for us to go away in. So we decided to sell that. And when we sold that, looking at adverts on eBay and other places, and this one came up.
Within the price bracket.
Yeah. But we are glad we chose a Renault because it gave us a lot of scope with the height and the width for us, because we're only short, aren't we? So the width-wise, it was all right for having a bed across the back.
But I think that was choosing a van to suit our needs rather than choosing a Renault,
especially.
Yeah, it could have been a Citroen, it could have been, Vauxhall, Vivaro or whatever, isn't it? Really, just what cropped up.
How far ahead do we start planning a longer trip? As soon as we get home from a trip.
Yes. It's continuous, isn't it?
It is, really.
And I mean, you're planning the summer, our summer holiday, although it's October.
I mean, we're in
our long holiday.
As we record this, we're in May, aren't we? But I'm already planning and researching October, so quite far ahead.
But other shorter breaks will appear.
Yeah, they're just ad hoc, aren't they? Really, places we fancy. Why do we tend to travel north rather than south?
We're northerners at heart.
We are northerners, aren't we? Because it tends to be areas we know, although we don't know them well. We know parts well, don't we? And a bit of laziness, I suppose. A bit of familiarity, isn't it?
I mean, we keep saying we ought to go to Norfolk, that area.
Yeah.
But we always balk at it and choose an easier option of either Yorkshire or the lakes or somewhere.
We hear horror stories as well, don't we? We hear, I mean, we did the Northumberland trip, didn't we? And people kept saying to us, don't go to Northumberland, you'll have so much hassle parking up anywhere.
But we didn't.
So we really, I mean, we've been told the same about Norfolk, haven't we? So we've been told it's really anti-campervan, you'll not be able to park anywhere, you'll have to go on sites.
Well, you keep saying about Shropshire as well, don't you? But it's not as, in my mind, it's not as wild as Scotland, as Lake District, as Yorkshire. So,
and I guess the thing we need to do to try those areas is do the long weekends, or do weekends.
Because it's not a million miles from home.
No, Shropshire's certainly not. And Staffordshire's another one we don't really know, do we? But again, we think of it as more agricultural, don't we, than wild and rugged. What are the positives and negatives about having a YouTube channel? That's a difficult one, isn't it?
Positives, it's just a record of what we've done.
For us. Yeah.
Negative, it's time consuming. On my part, editing.
Well, it's time consuming, full stop, really, isn't it? Because you're constantly thinking about
the next
content, aren't you? Or aren't we? Thinking about what will be good, what will go down well, what will people like, what's interesting, because it's got to be a bit interesting to us. Well, it's got to be interesting to us for us to make it interesting for other people.
Yes, yeah. I mean, that's the start, isn't it? And that was always the start of our channel anyway. It was a record of what we do and the things we find interesting.
Yeah.
And then we were just passing it on as
sharing it
rather than going out and making content
for the sake of it. Yeah. But first and foremost, it was a record for us. Negatives, as you say, is time consuming, especially for you because you do the editing. Especially doing two videos a week at the moment, isn't it, with the tasters, so what's coming up and then the main video. It's got easier now, hasn't it, a bit, because you're using a program that's simpler. Well. Positives, we do get a little bit of payment for them from the ad revenue, not a lot.
It's not going to
make us rich.
It buys the coffee, doesn't it? It buys the coffee.
It goes into
holiday fund. Yeah,
holiday fund, which is coffees, cake, fuel occasionally, and treats for the dogs. But it's not a lottery win every couple of months, is it?
No.
So that's a positive. Another positive is that it makes us think about where we're going, and we get views like this. And I suppose a positive of the YouTube channel is the fact that we've got the van, so we go to places we might not have gone anyway.
And to be fair, we've met some good friends,
We
or
have.
made some good friends through YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, they've people have been watching us, and we've been in an area, and they said, "Oh, let's meet up," and we met up, and
And
meet up several times, regularly when we're in that area.
friends we've never met. We've got people in America and Australia who we've never met, but they regularly comment on the channel, weekly comment on the channel, and it's always friendly and nice to hear from them, isn't it? And that's another positive. It's nice, we get the feedback, don't we?
Yeah.
We know what people are enjoying. So there's a lot more positives than there are negatives, aren't there?
Oh yeah.
What are our favourite and least favourite things in the van? That's a difficult one. I just like being in the van.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we have favourite things in the van.
No.
It's nice having the heater, the diesel heater.
Yeah, I guess that benefits us because we can be away in colder weather, can't we? So that's I wouldn't call it a favourite, but it's a bonus.
I don't really know.
Space.
Yeah.
Having the space for us and 2 dogs. Or 4 dogs,
4 dogs
as it was at one point. So that's a favourite. Least favourite is... I really can't think of something that I don't like about our van, or being in the van, or being away in the van.
The electrics, the least favourite. Where we charge things up, we've got one socket.
Yeah.
And we keep saying we need to either move it or have more, because it's between us when we're sat on the seat, isn't it?
Yeah,
and we
it
always
gets
catching
knocked,
it,
doesn't it?
Yeah, and there's wires everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's probably the least. But it's solvable. I mean, it's just a matter of time and working it out where we want things. So that's not an issue, real issue.
But as far as least favourite, it's not anything least favourite. It's an evolution.
Yes.
Because things change constantly, don't they? As they do with...
You learn as you go along.
Yeah, and you sit and you think, you could do that a little bit differently, but nothing major.
No.
Why don't we have an awning on the van? Well, we did have an awning.
We have an awning. We don't carry it all the time, but we don't go on sites really where we could use an awning, put it on.
And this personally for us is something that I think reflects in a negative way on people with campervans who park up wild, is seeing an awning out and deck chairs out and barbecues out and in somewhere where you're wild camping, if you want to call it that, or free parking or whatever you want to call it. It's just, it looks wrong, doesn't it, and paints a bad image.
Yeah, I mean, don't get us wrong, we sat out here with the chairs out the back and sunbathed,
but it's not the full looking like a camp.
No,
is it?
No.
And that's personal to us, but we know a lot of other people who say the same. And we've got the doorway, and it's just nice sat in the doorway, isn't it, and looking at the views. Why have we suddenly decided to change the tyres on the van?
Because they were getting illegal.
Well, apart from that,
well, we've always said that we could do with slightly more chunkier tyres on the van.
We did look at all-terrain tyres, didn't we? But they don't do them for this kind of van, do they? Because
no, they don't do
a commercial vehicle.
Because we need commercial rated tyres on it. We're fairly limited. So through the contacts from work, I was speaking to the people that supply our tyres, and they recommended the ones we've got as an improvement to, or, just general road tyres.
Which are all weather.
These are all weather. They're a bit heavier duty.
And if we're totally honest,
we got a deal.
Well, you got a deal.
Deal on them.
It's the state of the roads these days.
Yeah.
There's so many potholes about that we just. Well, I mean, you working in the garage all the time. You're getting vehicles in of all shapes and sizes, aren't you? Where tyres have just been shredded. So we want something a bit more substantial.
So we got 2 on the front. The ones on the back are good. Still a lot of tread on those, so we'll wear those, use those, and when time comes to replace those, we'll replace them with the same on the front. Do for now.
Stop recording. What's the recipe tonight, chef?
Well, we've got steaks with some onions, mushrooms if we want them, and rice. Let's see how we get.
All in one pot again.
Yeah, it's going to be all in one pot, isn't it?
That works well for us, doesn't it?
This pan was a good buy.
Yeah, I think it's one of the better things we've bought cooking wise.
Yeah.
It does everything, doesn't it? We can use it as a frying pan. We've made curries in it, and they've reduced down because it's got the hole in the lid because it's a proper saute pan. Dinner is served.